This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 1286 of Horse Tip Daily, your almost everyday morsel of helpful hints, useful facts, and practical techniques for horse folks. Brought to you today by Dr. Rose's Remedies. Greetings, horse people. Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily. Today's tip features Dr. Wendy Ying, veterinarian and co-host of the Driving Radio Show, along with Tigger Montague, who is the mad genius behind BioStar US and host of the Healthy Critters Radio Show. Horse Radio Network head honcho Glenn the Geek is going to try to keep them in line as they discuss whole foods for horses. And we'll get right to our tip after this from Dr. Rose's Remedies. Dr. Rose DeLiva, developer of Dr. Rose's Skin Treatment Salve and Spray, saw a need for a natural, safe alternative to steroids to help the plethora of skin issues she was seeing in her veterinary practice. She combined the best all-natural ingredients known for their healing properties to create Dr. Rose's Skin Treatment Salve and Spray. Neither product contains any artificial colorings or preservatives, and both are steroid and gluten-free. Both products are antiviral, antifungal, and antiseptic, as well as anti-hemorrhagic and anti-inflammatory. They also cool and nourish the skin, help to heal burns and lacerations, and surgical incisions. Here at the Horse Radio Network, we use Dr. Rose's on all manner of cuts and scrapes on our horses, and we have found it most effective to keep our horses from getting scratches on their pasterns during periods of heavy dew. You can find Dr. Rose's Skin Treatment Salve and Spray at Dover Saddlery Stores or go online to drrosesremedies.com. That's drrosesremedies.com.
Well, today on the Chinese medicine segment, I'm so happy we have a special guest with us. We have Tigger Montague from BioStar Whole Food Supplements and the Healthy Critters Radio. So welcome,
That's
Tigger.
Right. It's so good to be here.
We're so happy to have you here. Well, I love your show. It's one of my favorite shows on the Horse Radio Network. It's packed full of all kinds of great information. And I always tell my clients to listen in because you can learn something every time. Every week on the traditional Chinese medicine segment, we like to give a little tip so that our listeners can incorporate a healthy lifestyle for their pets. So Tigger, today I'm so glad you're here because I want to talk to you about your Optimum EQ supplement. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. It's a multivitamin mineral supplement, also known as a multi-nutrient formula, that's made from 100% whole food.
That's great.
Okay, so I'm confused. Let me jump in here. All right, because, and I'm sure I'm not the only one.
Glenn doesn't understand.
I don't understand this. Okay, so, and
He does understand Twinkies.
I do.
And
ring dings. I love ring dings. So now tell me this. Okay, so you talk about whole food and a supplement, and for some reason my mind doesn't put those two together. Am I the only one that has that issue?
Yes.
No.
I'm just kidding.
All right, I quit.
We are very accustomed to seeing multivitamins. And we look at all the ingredients and they list all the B vitamins and then they list the minerals. And none of that is from food. The B vitamins are made from coal tar derivatives. Coal tar derivatives are actually byproducts of the petrochemical industry. And this all began with John D. Rockefeller. He figured out that with all these petrochemical extracts and things that he didn't need in refinery, that he could do something with it, and he decided it would be really good to do something for the body. So coal tar derivative is really a chemical from petroleum manufacturing that is used to make drugs. It's used to make B vitamins. It's used to make vitamin A. It's used to make a lot of things that are in
That's
supplements.
so gross. That's probably why B
It's
vitamins are like that toxic yellow color.
and they go out of your, they exit the body very, very quickly. They don't stay long. When they're from food, they have, because of the other cofactors like fiber and enzymes, they can stay longer in the body, which is of benefit, particularly with a water-soluble nutrient.
This is another
More
thing I
time to
try
get
to
to the
stress with
cells.
my clients too about whole foods. We might not have discovered all the little chemicals in the whole food or why a certain chemical does something. But maybe if there's enzymes, there's different things in the food that works with the chemical that we've isolated that causes the reaction in the body. Maybe we just
Correct.
don't know that yet. So taking the
It-
whole food is so much better.
And it's really the way we're designed, and horses are designed to get nutrition. We're not designed. Most multivitamin minerals use inorganic minerals. That means it's just ground up rock.
Right.
Well, the horse is not designed to eat ground up rock. I've never seen one go over and chew on some limestone. Oh, let me get some calcium over here. The body has to work extra hard when you start feeding it inorganic minerals because it has to find something organic to chelate to, that is, to bind to the mineral molecule. Plants do this when they sprout, and when they're growing, the minerals are drawn up through the roots, and the plant takes free amino acids and binds them to the minerals. Therefore, minerals from plants are already what we call amino acid chelated, which is a high level of bioavailability.
And so how did you sorry. And so how did you develop this supplement? Did you have a horse that you were looking for a solution, or are you a nutrition nerd, or how did you get here?
I've almost 35 years in the supplement industry. I started in the human side in the 1980s, and I went to work in 2000 as a consultant for a human whole food supplement company called Megafood in Derry, New Hampshire. And they were the ones that sort of blew the lid off what I thought I knew about nutrition, because they were making supplements where they got the nutrition from real food. And it was the day I walked into my barn and started reading the ingredients on a feed bag.
Yeah.
Because I always just looked at the guaranteed analysis, right? I never really looked at the ingredients. And I went, well, where's the food?
Right.
And that's when it really hit me that there really isn't, in human supplementation, you can go to the health food store and there's Megafood and there's New Chapter and there's Garden of Life, and you've got, choices for whole food supplementation. But in horses and dogs, there just wasn't any. So I said, well, I could do this.
And how did you develop this this recipe?
Well, when you spend as much time in the supplement industry, specifically selling to health food stores, I really did know a lot about foods like spirulina. Blue-green algae has been a very successful food. Chlorella, hemp seed, came in a little bit later. Flax seeds, pumpkin seeds are sold a lot in health food stores. So I just started putting together, how am I going to cover my B vitamins? Well, the two biggest sources from food are rice and yeast. Where am I going to get my minerals? Well, I want to get them from plants. So I went with the blue-green algae spirulina. Where am I going to get vitamin A? Well, let's use beta carotene, and that comes from carrots. Where am I going to get vitamin C? Well, I'll get them from whole oranges. So that's what I kind of did, was break up the requirements in a multivitamin mineral and then went and got the foods that would support those nutrients, that provide those nutrients.
Can I ask a really stupid question?
Certainly.
It's what I'm known for, so why not? So, so now, do you squish all the apples and oranges and everything down into juice and then make pellets out of them? How? That's my question. I think that's why
Okay.
people's minds can't wrap around. When you think of Whole Foods, you think of an apple, right, or an orange.
Right.
But how does it get into supplement form?
Well, we use the whole orange, including the peel. We use the whole apple. We use the whole carrot. We use every food in its whole form. And we have big commercial mixers that mix all these ingredients up. And then they're poured into what's called a rotary molder machine. And it makes these bars that looks like cookies. And they come off this little conveyor belt. And then people in production hand remove them from the rotary molder machine, lay them on these big industrial trays, and they go into a dehydrator, actually industrial dehydrators. Dehydration means we just take the moisture out so we can maintain the raw integrity of the food. So there are big fans in a dehydrator, and you set the heat. Our temperature is generally set. It starts at 125, and then as the moisture is removed from the bars, the temperature of the dehydrator automatically lowers. So it starts high because there's lots of moisture. By the time the dehydration's over, the temperature is down to 110.
Ah.
It's
That's
a long
so cool.
process.
It's like
Yeah,
going
it's
on a
very
factory tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to go
Oh,
on
we
a
could
tour.
do that. A YouTube.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
should. Well, except you give all your
I
secrets
know.
away to those competitors.
Well, they're not really secrets because on the human raw food side, lots of companies use these dehydrators. But what I love about it is it's the integrity of the food is still there because you haven't cooked it. Heat is the
Mhm.
biggest enemy to food and to nutrients.
And in Chinese medicine theory, we, especially we down here in Florida, have a lot of hot issues. And the
Yeah.
more your food is processed, the hotter it is. So this is a great supplement and slash snack for horses that have heat issues, like non-sweaters or
Oh,
ones that are
100%.
nervous, or even arthritis is a form of like a yin deficient heat. So this is a great option for people, especially when they want to feed like raw foods, but then they feel like they need to put in a supplement because they're afraid their horses aren't getting enough of their daily nutrients. They can add this to whatever, even if they're on just an all hay diet, is so perfect.
Oh, yes, exactly. And the one thing that I tell people often is when you're reading a label, whether it's a feed, whether it's a supplement, you have to ask yourself when you read the ingredients, is this going to decrease stress on the GI tract or increase stress on the GI tract?
Oh, that's
Things
a good way
that are
to
from
think of it.
petrochemicals are going to increase stress on the GI tract.
Mhm.
Inorganic minerals, stress on the GI tract.
Right. And also, we have so many horses now, especially the geriatrics, that can't be exposed to a lot of processed foods and sugars. So this is a great
Yes.
alternative because, even if there's sugar in it from the fruits, there's so much, like you said before, so much fiber involved. There's not going to give them this huge sugar spike like they're just eating cookies.
Correct. And that's
So,
one of the challenges with so many treats
mhm.
is that the non-structural carbohydrate content is in the 30s and 40s. It's just too high for a metabolic horse or a Cushing's horse.
Right.
But we actually make a separate optimum for seniors. We make an optimum with our joint support, which is not using glucosamine. Nothing against glucosamine, but it's a very unstable raw material, and they have to add potassium chloride or sodium chloride to make it more stable. What that ends up being is that if you're buying a joint formula that says it has 4,000 milligrams of glucosamine sulfate, you have to subtract 30% for the actual amount that is a stabilizer. And the companies don't tell you that. I won't use MSM because it's made from petroleum waste and methane gas. to get the sulfur, which is important in a horse and especially the joints, we use kale. Kale is one of the richest sources of sulfur.
And horses love kale.
And they
More
love
than I
kale.
do. More than I do. Yeah.
Glenn. Well, and that's
Glenn,
another
I
thing
can
is
teach you
that
how to juice.
oh, he would never juice. But I like that these formulas are like you read the ingredients and think, oh, my horse would eat that. You don't have to put a whole bunch of sugar and fake flavorings on it because it's stuff that they would want to eat.
Well, and that's really the whole rise of the artificial and natural flavors in equine supplements. I mean, they have to be there because what horse would want to eat, a B vitamin from petroleum?
Well,
Right.
So-
They're so picky.
They're so picky.
You can find all of BioStar's products at biostarus.com, and this one. And it looks like this one you can get in bar form or powder form. So you can get 60 powder servings, or you can get 120 bars and feed it that way. So they think they're getting a treat. Which
Yeah. But I really recommend when you start on Optimum, start the first month with the powder, introduce it by the pinch, because again, it doesn't have molasses, it doesn't have dextrose, has no added sugars, and horses have to get used to the non-sweet taste.
Got it.
Well, there you have it. You can find links to today's guests as well as lots more tips at horsetipdaily.com. This podcast was made possible through the generous support of Dr. Rose's Remedies and listeners like you. Learn how you can help support Horse Radio Network programming and qualify for auditors-only perks by going to horsetipdaily.com and clicking on the Become an Auditor banner. This is Coach Jen, and I'll be back again soon with another tip. So until then, go ride your horse. The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements made by guests on the Horse Tip Daily. Please use your own judgment when listening to the tips on this show.